So, Amphibia came to an end last Saturday when it premiered its final episode, The Hardest Thing. And to be honest, after watching the entire episode, I didn't had any plans onto reviewing this episode or the last episode. And I did state it in my latest update video that I'm planning on reviewing all in, but upon watching the final episode, especially watching all the episodes up to this point, Amphibia isn't really one of my most favorite cartoons as of late. I mean, I do admire the fact that this episode ended off the show on a great note, but on the other hand, I can't say for a fact that this is one of my favorite endings of any other cartoon that I've witnessed. Like, I need to be perfectly real with you. I was originally planning on doing a video of comparing the finales of Amphibia. The first season was Reunion, the second season was True Colors, and with this is The Hardest Thing. And to be perfectly honest, my opinions towards those other finales are mostly low compared to what other people think about those finales. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I did enjoy the separation of Anne and her friends from Amphibia, which includes the characters that they've grown attached to, but on the other hand, I can't say for a fact that this is one of my favorite bonds, especially with the relationship of Anne and Sprig. To be honest with you, when I got into the show during the pandemic, I was having a difficult time watching the episodes from the first season. I mean, it took time for me to get used to them, and I actually been rewatching season 1 episodes. But when it comes to episodes afterwards, they're not bad, but at the same time, my opinions towards those episodes aren't really that important to me compared to the other cartoons that I've talked about. I need to be perfectly honest with you. The entire conclusion of Amphibia is a really good conclusion, especially the bits where Anne, Marcy, and Sasha are grown up, which is 10 years after the frog invasion, which is actually a great ending considering that this is about moving forward and you have to let go of certain things that really mean a lot to you. But whenever I consider this finale as one of the best finales compared to other cartoons, I can't be 100% certain on that. Like, this show came out in 2019, and to be honest, this show doesn't need a 4th season, but at the same time, I can't even attempt to find any investment in these characters, no matter what other people in the fan base would think. Because I actually think that these characters, for what they are good, but at the same time, I've seen those traits before, and with this, they did some unique things, but I just couldn't get into them. Mainly Sasha's development, which I'm pretty sure I didn't talk about Sasha whatsoever since I've been reviewing Amphibia episodes. I only talked about Anne and Marcy when I talked about the first temple. And if you ask me, if I ever had the chance to review the episodes involving All-In and in this episode, I have to try to do my research towards the other characters, mainly Cain Anguis, who has a great redemption arc. But on the other hand, I'm not really invested with all the characters. I'm just being honest with you. I actually think that this show is good, but at the same time, I won't consider it as one of the best. Granted, it's one of the best Disney cartoons as of late, which isn't the case considering that this show came to an end and all we have is the Owl House and the other cartoons that Disney has to offer. But I can't say for a fact that I would rank this show higher than the other cartoons. And the ending itself, for me personally, was mostly predictable, which is why I didn't had any motivation into reviewing this episode, because I will probably be a buzzkill whenever I just be a downer towards a show that people really admire, along with the fact that this show really gave us new characters that really showcases the originality of what Disney Channel can do. And at the same time, this is still a 2010s cartoon. Not a 2020s cartoon, just a 2010s cartoon that started in 2019. The same thing happened with Ed, Edd n Eddy and SpongeBob, where it came out in the 1990s, and people consider those cartoons as the 1990s cartoons. I could, if I was really invested with this show, especially of how much effort it was put into, I mostly enjoy the show for mostly its humor. Not all the time, but if you ask me, the character arcs in the show just isn't enough for me to be fully entertained compared to the comedy in the show. I really wanted to review this episode, but considering that it was difficult for me to get into these topics entirely, especially that most of my Amphibia videos aren't getting much attention, and the fact that this conclusion sums up that people are moving on from this show, I don't even feel like that I really need to review this episode in order to give my perspective on the show entirely, because if you ask me, I really don't even know where to start if I'm ever going to review other material. Once LGBT month starts, there is going to be an Amphibia review, but it's going to be part of season 3 that isn't really attached to the arcs of Anne, Marcy, and Sasha in this. It isn't. So for me personally, if I did review this episode, and the fact that I might consider on doing other videos towards this show, it's not gonna be towards the arcs of this show. I mean, it can be, but for the majority of the episodes, they mostly done its duty into making the characters entertaining, hilarious, and when it comes to the motivations, I can understand that people are not into those type of developments, but I really feel like that's pretty much the only reason what this show is mostly known for. I try my best to get into most of the newer cartoons, but no matter what, this just isn't enough. Granted, I can't say that this show bored me, it's just that this show just didn't give me a lot to work with. So if you ask me, I really do not need to review the finale or all in. I'm sorry to disappoint all of you guys, but I really need to get this out because I was planning on using this review to wrap up Summerpalooza 4 in August. And to be perfectly honest with you, I don't even need Summerpalooza 4 to be a very extraordinary schedule, because at this point I've been doing that for years, and for how much I'm losing my energy since this year began, I really do not need to push myself into making a review of a finale that I have less knowledge of. So if there's one thing I can take is that I might make more Amphibia reviews in the future. Like I said, I'm starting off LGBT month with an Amphibia review, but at the same time, it's going to take time for me to talk about the other episodes. I've already talked about the Halloween and Christmas episodes, and when it comes to me discussing the other episodes, mainly the pilot, it's a possibility, so I can have a different perspective, but at the same time, I don't really have much of a bigger expectations of this show. I do not have bigger expectations towards this show like other people. So keep this in mind. Just because a finale happened doesn't mean I have to review it. Because to be perfectly honest, the fact that My Little Pony Make Your Mark or the Generation 5 special coming out later this month is something that people will probably want me to review. I don't think it's a possibility. Like, I'd rather just make a rant video towards that instead of just doing an actual review, because I really have low expectations towards that special. But not as low as compared to this. All I can say is that I enjoyed the finale of Amphibia, but at the same time, I don't really need to make a review off of the finale. So sorry to disappoint you guys, but aside from the other planned videos, I'm not going to make a review of this. So in the future, I might, but at the same time, not anytime soon.